Hello, my name is Fiona, and I work for the Mississauga Library. Today in STEAM Club, we will be making electrical batteries with potatoes. What you will need to do this is you'll need at least 2 potatoes, but you can add even more potatoes if you like. You'll need at least 2 pieces of copper. What I'm using are stripped wires that I chopped into little pieces to get these chunks of copper, but you could also use pennies if you have some old pennies. And then something that has zinc. Probably the most common thing in the house that has zinc are what are called galvanized nails. So these are steel nails that have a zinc coating, and you'll know they're galvanized because they have sort of a white, filmy look to it, and they feel a little bit rough. You'll need at least 3 wires. So I'm using 3 alligator clip wires, but you could just use copper wires that you wrap around the electrodes. And then lastly, you'll need some kind of low voltage electronic. So I have here a battery operated clock that has the battery removed, or you could also use like an LED. So to get started to make the potato battery, first in each potato we're going to stick 1 copper piece and 1 zinc piece, like that. So 1 wire chunk and 1 nail, and do that in the other potato too. And keep them about maybe 1 to 2 centimeters apart on each potato. The next thing is take one of the wires. So I'm going to connect the clip on one side on the zinc nail in the first potato, and then on the second potato I'm clipping it to copper. So these metal pieces, these are what's called electrodes, and the zinc will form the anode, so the negative terminal, and the copper will form the cathode, which is the positive terminal. Once you've joined up your potatoes, get the second wire, clip it to the copper on your first potato, get your third wire, clip it to the zinc. So to hook up our battery to our clock, we're going to flip it around and look at where the battery goes. So this is the positive terminal with the metal bump inside. This is the negative terminal with the spring. So we're going to take the wire that's coming from this copper here, connect it to the positive, and take the other alligator wire that's connected to the zinc here to the negative. Okay. And if we look, our clock is now turned on, and it's being powered by a potato. So that's pretty cool. So what is actually happening to power the clock? It's not magic, it's science, which means there's rational principles that can explain what's happening. So let's there. So what is happening is that each potato is acting like an electrochemical cell. What that means is that the potato is turning chemical reactions happening between the potato and the metal, and it's turning it into chemical energy, is getting turned into electrical energy, which then gets transmitted over the wires and powers the clock. To be more specific, what's happening is the zinc. So the zinc is a higher electric potential than copper. What that means is that zinc atoms are dissolving in solution into the potato. The potato, like most living animals and plants, is slightly acidic. In the case of the potato, mostly phosphoric acid, a weak organic acid. So the zinc atoms are dissolving into the potato solution and forming chemical reactions, and the result of that is that some electrons are being released from the reaction, creating free energy. On the other hand, the copper, relative to the zinc, the copper has lower electric potential, so it is relatively more positive charge than the zinc. So just to remember, electrons are negatively charged ions, so negative charge, and negative is always going to be attracted to positive. Since the copper is more positive, what is happening is that the electrons released by the zinc electrode is traveling over the wire to the copper cathode, the copper electrode, and that travel of electrons, that's electricity. More specifically, that's electric current. And if we have enough current, we're able to power electronics if they're hooked up correctly. So I have here a voltmeter, or also known as a multimeter. And we can use this to actually measure the voltage of the potato battery. So I'm connecting one lead here to the positive and the other to the negative lead. And we can see that this potato battery with two potatoes, it's putting out 1.6 volts approximately. So we can make an even more powerful potato battery by chaining even more potatoes. So here. So I'm going to add one cathode and one anode, so one copper, one zinc, to two more pieces of potatoes. This is potato number one, potato number two. So I'm attaching the zinc electrode to the copper, and with another wire, attaching the copper, or the zinc, to the copper, and then one final wire to this zinc. Okay, so I have my two leads, one from potato number one here, and from potato number 4 here. So I've got here an LED. So an LED, this is a blue LED, so it's actually fairly higher powered. Challenge 2, Find out why red LEDs are lower power, require less current than blue LEDs. So anyways, we have this LED. So the longer lead, it's hard to see, but the longer lead here is the positive and the shorter one is negative. So if we hook up our potato battery, oh, backwards, there we go. Come on. All right, if we hook up the potato battery to the LED, with 4 potatoes, it's just enough energy to light up the LED. So if we hook up our voltmeter to our 4 potato battery, you'll see that it's now putting out 3.16 volts, so it's actually more powerful. So why don't you at home try making your own vegetable batteries? Other things that you can do are things like a lime. So I have this lime that's kind of going bad. Limes and other citrus fruits are more acidic and have generally better chemical reactions with the metals, so you might find that you get even more power. Try different other waste vegetables, like try a tomato. You'll be amazed at how much power you can get out of your vegetables. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please visit our website or Facebook page for details on what is coming up and for our digital 24/7 services where you can download ebooks, audiobooks, music, magazines, movies, and more. To learn more about electricity and home experiments you can do in your kitchen, check out our ebook collection. You'd be amazed what we have. So that's it for today. Bye!